Alright guys, so today we are going to be prepping for Total War. So in this iteration of this event, I don't know what they are going to be dropping because for JP it has gotten a few different variant as far as the enemy lineup. So the one that you guys are seeing right now, or like right now on your screen, is presumably something that we might get. I would say I don't know how the first one actually looks like because back then I didn't even play it until fairly recently. So yeah, let's kind of get started. So how do we actually want to prep for this event? So we gotta actually take a look at the whole this. I'm just gonna call this like a bingo set because essentially whenever you beat one of the enemy, so I'm just gonna call it one tile, you get diamonds. And then if you defeat, so there's two separate achievement. One is specifically for when you defeat enemy, you get X amount of diamonds. So I believe it starts from 1, 3, 5, 7, and so on and so forth. So by the time you beat, I want to say 19 of these tiles, you will get all 3,000 diamonds. And the other achievement is going to be based on the amount of rows, like your horizontal rows, diagonal rows, or vertical rows that you are able to complete. That's, obviously your bingo sets. That's gonna allow you to get one of the exchangeable coins where you can exchange for some goodies, obviously. So that's the kind of like the whole premise of this event. So essentially we're gonna break down what's gonna be the best order on taking down this bingo set right here. So what I have been talking to, from when I played this on JP, what people have been recommending is to beat the hardest one first, or whichever way you feel more comfortable to you. The reason being why you want to defeat the hardest boss on this specific bingo set first, because once you beat the hardest enemy on here, the rest of the things are going to be a little bit easier because you do not need as intensive, like let's say your unit to beat the other bosses. So I'm just gonna be ranking them by I guess, take it as you will, the order you should beat them. So based on this example that you guys are looking at, the first one you should beat is going to be the Engage Zero Awakening, followed by our good old pal Kasi Gundam. So in terms of those two on this specific bingo set, they are the two most difficult to beat. Well, first of all, Kasi is going to be a tank, so beating down the tank is going to require some sort of good DPS for sure. While the Engage Zero Awakening, that is a healer at its base core, so it's going to be healing, the rest of the other five enemies. So that's why it is very deadly. So those two are going to be top of the line. So if you are able to beat those two with, let's say, effortlessly with your whatever good URs you guys might have, then congratulations, you're pretty much set to complete the rest of the bingo set. And the next in line, so what's after those two you should be, I'm just gonna naming them the gatekeepers, because they are essentially blocking you from completing the very top row, and then the very bottom horizontal, and then the two vertical on line 2 and 4. So calling them gatekeeper is actually very valid, because those two are actually two mobile armors of just from two different lines. So they are pretty hard as well, but if you do have any good unit left over, those are going to be the next 4 you should beat. And then after that comes the 3 GPO4. So the GPO4s aren't necessarily as hard as it is going to be anymore, because we are stepping down the tier. And after beating the GPO4, the next one you want to beat is going to be the 3 full armor Gundam Thunderbolt, followed by the 3 RA-72, and then the rest of the lineups on here are going to be the 4 Rick Doms and then the 5 Zaguses. So the SRs on this event is actually a joke. So if you think you want to start from the R's, you obviously can, but you will feel that they do not pose any threat to you. So that's why saving the R's and the SR towards the very last is actually better, because you don't need as good of a unit to take them down anymore. So now that we kind of got the overall spectrum of like how you want to be in order, if you want to follow this, then we're done over here. The next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna hop over to my box, and then we are gonna talk about how to actually prep for the unit. So I mean, everyone box is actually different, so I cannot say, well, use, let's say, I don't know, max out Zeta to beat the Engage Zero Awakening, because I'm pretty sure not everyone would have a max out Zeta, for example, or a max out Sasabi. So take it as a more subjective of how I would plan ahead. So since we are going to be talking about taking down the hardest bosses, what am I going to be using, or how, or besides even talking about that, should I right now be upgrading anything? I would definitely say no, because I learned the hard lesson to not upgrade, because what I have done in the past, I would just forcibly upgrade everything in an arsenal, and then wham, I thought I'm good, but next thing you know, I'm like, well, I don't have any more coins, I don't have any more custom ticket to upgrade unit, so please do not upgrade right now. Upgrade as needed, do not over upgrade, because sometimes you might think you need to upgrade, but next thing you know, you don't need to. So what you guys want to do is plan ahead, see what kind of upgraded things you guys already have, and then try to use those first before using any of your resources to upgrade. So let's talk about how far, if you are planning to upgrade, how far do you need? So the UR presumably are going to be the one that's going to be taking down the heavy duties enemy. So that's going to be like your like the most of the URs in here, like I would say the Engage Zero Awakening, Kasi, the 4 Gatekeepers, and those for sure, I would say you need adequate URs to beat. For sure, alright? So those URs, I would feel like it's gonna be like your main core unit that you guys have been using in, like, I don't know, your arenas, your clan battle, or just any typical event you will be facing. So presumably you will be using those events to beat those four. But what about the easier one? What about like your R8782, your full armor Gundam Thunderbolt? How, if I do need to upgrade, what should I do? So my best advice if you do need to upgrade is to upgrade to a certain level, because what you can do, there's actually like a trial run you can go into, so you can test out the water to see, all right, if I upgrade to, let's say, level 50, is that going to be enough for me to beat all the 5 Zakuses, for example, right? If that's sufficient, move on, that's good. So for those, I'll definitely say use your R's, like your rares, those are going to be your best friend. Your SR, those are going to be your BFF as well. So use those to be like the easiest stage, like the R872, the 4 Armor Gundam Thunderbolt, and the GPO Force. Use those. Those are going to be your best friends. And let's say as you are beating some of the a little bit difficult like GPO 4, you need a little bit more. What's a good satisfaction level to go to? So if I'm upgrading like an SR, for example, I think most importantly to get up to custom level 4 or custom level 6, so you can access the gear. So I think at that point you should be sufficient enough, and at the same time you're not really burning through a lot of your resources. So that's kind of it. I know this is not really like the best possible explanation for you guys as far as prepping wise, but I just want you guys to understand, do not underestimate this event, because this is one of the more tedious event out there, and I don't want people to lose out on any amount of reward possible out there. So that's why do plan ahead, do not over upgrade as needed, and please remember to use the testing system, because that will allow you to actually go ahead and kind of test the water to see what is actually needed, and you do not overuse any of the unit, because any of the unit that you guys use, I should have mentioned this way earlier, they're not going to be back. So you cannot reuse the unit that you have used in an event. They're gone unless you hit the master reset button. The master reset button essentially reset literally every one of these tiles. So let's say you have beaten at least 10 of these enemy, and you're like, whoops, I messed up, I didn't plan ahead, and I don't have any more unit left. If you hit the reset button, you literally have to start from fresh again. So that's why this event can be a little bit more frustrating, because all the time and effort you went in already, you're like, whoop, it's already gone. And that's kind of like how unfortunate it is, right? So that's why definitely do the following: test out the water, upgrade as needed, and then hopefully you guys can beat the event. So when this is out next week, I am going to try to probably stream. I'm actually gonna stream for this game, all right, because I guess we can probably beat it together. So I'm gonna try the method of beating from the hardest to the easiest and see how that goes, and then I will be using probably most of the unit here because even though there's only 25 enemies, but we for sure need more than 25 units to beat every stages, so that's why I think streaming will be good. And then after that, after the stream, I'm gonna go ahead and add kind of like a really shortened version. So for those that missed out on the stream, you guys at least will have like a shortened version of like, all right, what did I use and how did I attack it, and then we can kind of go from there. So with that said, I think that is going to be pretty much it, and then I'll be catching you guys all on the next one.